Namaste everyone. Thank you so much for joining me once again onto your yoga mat. Today we will be focusing on some hip opening postures, eventually leading into some splits practice as well. So if you're ready, go ahead and grab some blocks as we will need these to help ourselves get into that splits pose. If you don't have blocks, you can always use some hardcover books just to elevate the ground a little bit higher so you can just kind of rest your hands and then lengthen your back at the same time. If you don't have blocks or some hardcover books, don't worry, you can always use some toilet paper as well. Use two of them, one underneath each hand. When you're ready, let's get right into it. Begin the practice with some gentle grounding exercise and some breath work as well. So go ahead and sit up nice and tall on your easy seated pose, crossing your legs however you feel comfortable. Then you're going to release your shoulders and your neck, just releasing any tension out of that area. Place your hands on top of your knees and let's close our eyes, focusing on that breath, bringing your attention into this moment as we ground and get ready for the practice ahead. So take this moment as an opportunity to let go of any thoughts you might be holding on to, whether that's of the past or the future. Just know that we don't really have much control over what has already happened or what is going to happen. So just bringing that attention to this moment where you are right now and just allowing yourself to give in to the practice, giving a few moments of your time to dedicate to your well-being and your overall health. Just focusing on that breath now as we breathe in and out through the nose. And just clearing away any distraction you might have. Simply just focusing on that breath each moment. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and bring your hands together, heart center. And then on the inhale, we're gonna reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Go ahead and lift that chest up, maybe looking into your palms, your thumbs. Give yourself one final stretch. And then exhale, let all that energy come down onto the ground, sitting up nice and tall. And starting to open up your eyes if you haven't already. Let's go ahead and reach your left hand all the way up towards the ceiling and then walk your right arm out to the side. And let's go ahead and bend and open up that left side of the body here, reaching your left fingertip towards the opposite side. Relax your shoulders here and maybe even lifting that left hand behind you. And then exhale, let's come back to the center. Inhale, let's reach your arms up once again. And then exhale now, on to the other side. Again, relaxing that shoulder, stretching that right arm across. Bring that shoulder slightly back. And then slowly come all the way back up. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up. Let's add a twist. You can turn towards the right, left hand on top of the right. Lift that heart up. And then exhale, just gonna open up that right shoulder back. Make sure you're breathing. Let's come back to the center. Inhale, let's reach your arms up once again. And then exhale over to the other side. Lift that chest up, inhale. And then as you exhale, we're gonna open up that left shoulder. And let's slowly come back to the center. One more time, inhale, reach up. And then this time we're gonna fold all the way down. Drop your hands right in front of you. Walk your hands out a little bit further. And just allow that lower back to relax a little bit. You can add a little bit of movement, rocking side to side, whatever feels good here. Bring that chin slightly in towards your chest. So you're lengthening out that back side of your neck as well. And from here, slowly walk your hands back up. And let's come into our tabletop position. So turn towards the top of your mat here. Bring your knees and your hands onto the floor. And let's stack that joint upon joint once again. So your shoulders and your wrists stacked on top of each other. The hands are spread wide, fingertips gripping the mat. And then same thing with the knees and the hips here. And let's avoid that arching in the back already by just tucking in that pelvis and allowing that back to be nice and flat. Bring that chin down slightly just to lengthen the back of that neck again. All right, now from here, let's inhale and come down into your cow. So drop that belly and then press your heart out. Open up your shoulders back. And then exhale, we're going to round and curl. You're going to press your hip forward and then round your back. Tucking that chin in towards your chest. And then inhale, let's come all the way into your cow, arching that back, opening up that chest. Exhale, let's round and curl once again. And let's keep it flowing here, moving at your own pace. A few more rounds. Let's do one more cat and cow flow here. Inhale to open up. Exhale to draw that chest up and back. And let's come into your tabletop position. All right, now from here, let's tuck your toes under, send it back into your downward facing dog. Give that hip a nice lift. You can have your knees bending slightly. Keep your hands firm on the ground here. Keep pressing your hand into the mat and then lift out of that shoulder and continue that lift up from your hip and your tailbone. And then from here, let's go ahead and walk your dog. So we're bending one knee at a time here, just to stretch out the backs of your legs, keeping that hip nice and high. And then from here, let's walk to the top of your mat. And you're going to separate your feet here about hip width distance. And then soften your knees, relax that upper body all the way down. See if you can touch your belly into your thighs here. Relax that upper body completely. And then as you inhale, you're going to slowly unroll yourself all the way up, vertebrae by vertebrae. And then land onto your first standing pose, Tadasana. Just go ahead and close your eyes here. Or at least soften the gaze, relax the shoulders down, away from the ears, fingertips reaching down towards the floor. Your legs are engaged, so pulling up on that kneecap. And let's go ahead and bring your feet together here, hands together, heart center. And let's come into a gentle flow. Salutation A. So on the inhale, reach your arms up, tuck that pelvis in, and then keep accentuating that length up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, we're going to come down once again into that forward fold, softening your knees, relaxing your head. Come up into your halfway lift. So hands onto your knees or your thighs, and go ahead and press that chest out. Again, your hip pressing out as you lean and lengthen forward with that upper body. Try not to round your back so much. So if you are here, again, you want to just walk up a little bit and keep that back nice and flat. And then continue to walk down until you can no longer straighten that back. When it starts to round, that's when you want to really stop. All right, now from here, exhale, let's lower down once again. coming into your forward fold. And then inhale, let's rise up. Exhale, hands together, heart center. Inhale, let's reach it up. Exhale, down. Halfway lift. And let's step it back. Exhale. Take one inhale. And then lower your knees down. Drop that chest and chin all the way down. And then from here, let's slide up into your cobra. Open up that chest. And let's send it back into your downward dog. Tuck your toes. Lift that hip up. Send it back. Give it a nice stretch. And let's walk to the top of your mat once again. And then exhale, forward fold, release. Inhale, we're going to reach your arms up once again. Exhale, let's bring the heart center. Take one big breath in and out through the nose. And then on the inhale, let's keep it moving. Inhale, reach. Exhale down, soften the knees. Halfway lift, so come up halfway, straightening that spine and your legs, kneecaps engaged. Exhale, lower down, step back into your plank. Take an inhale here, and then lower your knees, chest and chin, all the way down. Let's come into your cobra, open up the chest, and let's send it back. Downward facing dog, stretch it out. Step it forward, and then exhale, coming into your forward fold. Soft knees, releasing the upper body. Let's rise, inhale. Hands together, heart center. We'll do one more round. Keep blood flowing. Inhale. Exhale down. Halfway lift. Exhale back, plank. One inhale here, hold. Drop the knees down, chest and chin, exhale. Let's slide up, cobra position. Send it back, downward facing dog. Let's hold here. So just noticing that subtle changes in the back of your legs now in your downward facing dog. And each time you come into this down dog, try and notice the very, very slight difference you might start to feel. Weight here is evenly distributed between your hands and your foot. Keep lifting that hip nice and high. Softening the knees if you need to. Allowing that back to be nice and flat. All right, now from here, let's go ahead and bring your feet together. And then on the inhale, you're going to reach your right leg high, lift it up into your three-legged dog. And then as you exhale, you're going to come to the top of your mat. And then drop the back knee down. Release the back of your top leg here, top foot down. And then just see if your knees are stacked on top of the ankle here. And then start to draw that hip nice and low, opening up that hip. We're going to stay here a few more breaths, so keep breathing. Keep dropping that hip down. Now, if your hands don't reach the floor here, you can always use that block underneath your hands. And you can always elevate a little bit higher here. Now, as you're elevating, as you're coming down into this low lunge pose, make sure your back is not rounded. So a great way to straighten your back would be just to lift a little bit higher here. Okay, so use the props if you need to. Remember, we're not trying to practice our ego, but more about what the wisdom of our body is speaking to us, and then move accordingly. Your alignment is just as important here to avoid any injuries. All right, now from here, you can start to walk your feet to the outside, to the edge of the mat. So you're gonna bring your foot right at the edge, and now your hands are gonna come in the center, in between your legs here. Now again, if you can't reach the floor down, if you can't reach the hands down onto the floor, you can always use that block again under your hands. Or if you feel like you can actually go a little bit deeper, you can also start to bend your elbows down onto the floor. And you can start to open up that right hip and right knee out and target even the groin area now. As with everything, you want to start to lift from that chest, create a nice straight back as much as you can. Let's hold here for 5, keep breathing. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's come back up onto your hands. Bring that feet back into the center. Drop that hip down nice and low, and this time make your way up onto your knees. So you're going to interlace your hands right on top of the knees and just go ahead and press that hip down a little bit more. Again, go nice and slow here. Go as far as your body allows. All right, let's go ahead and reach your arms all the way up here. Inhale, take a big stretch. And then exhale, hands down onto the floor. Now go ahead and place your left hand down and then make a big circle with your right arm and then reach it all the way out behind you. Now, if you want to, you can always bend your knee and then grab your left ankle. If that's not possible here, you can just try to lift and then reach. That is also doing a lot for you. You can also use a towel to wrap around your ankle and just pull towards you. Whatever works best. Now you can also start to drop that foot down onto the floor and just keep pressing that hip down. So you're stretching here, that front part of the thigh. Wherever you are, let's hold and let's breathe. Deepen that breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly release. Let's go back. Come into the center. And then now from here, grab your blocks, grab your props, whatever you have. And then from here, we're going to shift your hip backwards. Okay, and then we're gonna lift that front foot. Now just check that your hip is just on top of your knee. So you might need to move that front foot a little bit more forward, or you might need to move it a little bit back. So wherever you are, try to keep your joints stacked on top of each other. With your blocks, you have 3 levels to choose from. So level 1 would be to come all the way up, the highest point, and you want to press your hip back. All right, now you want to focus more on that straight leg. So for me, it's my right leg. I'm going to focus on sending that back and then bringing my left hip forward. So it's kind of like an opposite rotation. So just like how we do in our warrior 1 pose where we're squaring the hips, this is pretty much the same idea. So the idea here is not to open that hip out to the side, but more so that you're closing in and your hip is basically squared to the top of your mat. Now, another thing to note is you don't want to round your back just so you can, reach down as far as you can. The goal here is to keep that back nice and flat as you're going down. So if you feel like, okay, I can go down a little bit lower, you can start to now change the height of your block. But you want to keep maintaining that alignment. So keep that back nice and flat here. Again, you can also bring that chin down towards your chest, just lengthening the back of your neck here. Keep that toe pointing up towards the ceiling or towards you. And you should really feel a nice opening in the entire back side of your right leg. Now you just want to hold here. You just want to keep breathing. And maybe you can start to close your eyes and really go into your body, especially in the areas that you feel the most stretch. Let's hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly go ahead and bend that front knee once again, coming back into that lunge. Remove the block to one side first, and then hands down onto the floor. Tuck your back toe under, and let's send it all the way back into that three-legged dog once again. So go ahead and reach that right leg all the way up, stretch it out. Exhale, drop it down into your downward facing dog, and then pedal your legs. And starting to notice once again how this is starting to feel. All right, you guys, now from here, let's go ahead and bring that left leg high. Inhale, reach it up. Stretch it as far as you can. Notice this. And then start to swing that leg all the way to the top, and then drop the back knee down. All right, let's go ahead and drop that hip down. Again, use a block if you need to under your hands, just to elevate the ground. Make sure your back is nice and flat, and just keep dropping down onto your hips as we start to open up that inner thigh, the front part of your right leg now. Wherever you are, just breathe. Remember, it's not about how the pose looks, but how it really feels. A lot of us, we want to get into that peak pose of a splits, and we kind of rush into it, and that's where all of the injuries start to take place, is because we're not actually listening to the wisdom what our bodies is speaking to us. And I've been there many times where I just wanted to go down even more, and then I've actually tore my inner right thigh area. And yep, I've definitely learned my lesson there. So it's always best to take it nice and slow. All right, now from here, let's go ahead and bring that left foot towards the edge of that mat here on the left side, and then your hands come inside. Again, you can always come down onto your elbows or stay up on your hands, wherever you are, keeping that back nice and flat. Choose your level here. You can go as deep as you want to, but of course you want to move mindfully and not forcefully. Let's hold here. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, you guys, let's come back up and let's bring that left foot in the center of the mat here. And then from here, let's bring your right hand down onto the floor, keeping that joint upon joint. So your wrist is right underneath that shoulder. And then your left arm, this time, big circle all the way to the back. And keep lifting out of that right shoulder. Now, if you want to go a little bit deeper, go ahead and bend that right leg. Grab your ankle. Or use a towel. Wrap it around that ankle, whatever you need to do here. So again, choosing your variation. Drop that hip down. Feel that stretch on that front part of your right thigh. And let's hold and let's breathe. Take it slow. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Start to release that foot if you have, and then go ahead and bring that hand all the way back into the center. And then this time, go ahead and grab your block once again, and then start to shift your hip back, straighten that front leg, bring that toe up towards the ceiling, flex that foot, and then same idea, you want to square your hips here. So your left hip back, right hip comes forward, and then your back is nice and flat. Choose your level. You have the highest level in the block here. As you start to feel that opening, drop your block down to another level. And just progressing all the way down onto the floor. But again, we're not rushing into it. We're taking our time. We're feeling that stretch this time on the entire backside of that left leg. So let's keep breathing here. This pose here is known as half split, so it's a great prep before we come into that full stretch of a split. So take your time here. If you need to, you can always remove the block completely and bring your hands down onto the floor if you're more flexible. Again, just maintaining that back to be nice and flat. Keep pressing that hip back. Feeling that stretch, and you're just breathing into it for last 5, 4, see if you can relax your face and your jaw, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bend that front knee once again, and let's take it back into your 3-legged dog. So tuck your back toe in, and then let's send that left leg all the way up towards the ceiling. This time notice if you can reach a little bit higher. And then exhale down into your downward facing dog. Stretch it out. And let's walk to the top of your mat once again. As we exhale, forward fold, release. And then inhale, rise all the way up towards the ceiling. Give yourself a nice big stretch. Hands together, heart center. Exhale. All right, keep it going here. Inhale. Exhale, hands down onto the floor. Come back up halfway. This time, let's bring your hands down and then bring your left leg back. And then drop the back foot down. Bend that front knee 90 degrees. And we're going to rise up, strengthen your legs here. Reach your arms up. And let's hold here, breathe. 3, 2, 1. Let's open up into your warrior 2. Lift the back heel and then open up to the side. Straighten your arms out. Relax the shoulders. Keep that front knee bending 90 degrees. All right, let's go in for your reverse warrior. Right arm up, left hand down onto your left leg. Keep bending that front knee. Give yourself a nice stretch. And let's slowly come back up. All right, triangle pose next. So straighten that front leg. Keep your kneecap engaged here. Reach that upper body towards the top of the mat. And then drop your hand down. Lift the arm up towards the ceiling here. Let's open up that left shoulder back. And then press your left hip forward. And then let's slowly rise up as we inhale, strengthening your legs. All right, this time go ahead and bend your knees once again. And just place your elbow onto your knee and then rotate your left arm up towards the ceiling. Now the tendency here is to kind of collapse onto your elbow, onto your shoulder, sorry. You want to just lengthen out, reach out of that shoulder. Keep that arm up towards the ceiling. Last 3, drop that hip down a little bit lower if you can. 2, and 1. Let's bring that left hand down onto the floor. Turn the back toes up, back heel up. And then right hand up towards the ceiling, twisted. Dragonfly pose. Again, try not to collapse onto your shoulders. 1 more inhale, reach. Exhale, hands down onto the floor, step it back. Downward facing dog, and then pedal it out. All right, now this time let's go ahead and bring your left leg forward. And then drop the back heel down. And let's rise up once again, warrior 1. Reach that arm up. Bend that front knee 90 degrees. Hold here, 3, 2, And 1. Open up into your warrior 2. Arms are nice and open, shoulders relaxed. Front knee bending 90 degrees. And let's take it into your reverse warrior. Stretch that left arm out. And let's slowly come back to the center here. Straighten that leg. Let's go into that triangle pose. Extend that upper body forward. Drop the hand down. And then open up that right arm up to the ceiling. This time press your right hip forward and then open up that right shoulder back. 3, 2, and 1. Use that strength of your legs. Come all the way back up and then bend your knee once again. Warrior 2. And then drop your left shoulder, left elbow down. Extend that right arm up towards the ceiling. Again, reaching out of your shoulder. Drop that hip down a little bit lower. Let's hold. Let's breathe. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now from here, drop that right hand down. Turn your right heel up. Drop down to that lunge. And then open up that left hand up to the ceiling. Dragonfly twist. Last 3. Keep breathing. 2, and 1. Hands down onto the floor. Step back into that downward facing dog. Stretch it out. Walk your legs if you need to. And then from here, let's go ahead and reach that right leg up towards the ceiling. Inhale. And ascend it into all the way to the top of your mat. And then let's drop that back knee down once again. Coming back into that lunge. You can release the top of your back foot down. Drop your hip. And this time, let's come up into that lunge. Use your block right beside you here again. Option to choose any level, any height of that block. And let's come back into that half split. So press that hip back. Extend that right leg forward. Press your right hip back. Let's hold here. Maybe you can go a little bit deeper now. Make sure you're breathing. Let's hold here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, you guys, now it's nice and gently. We're going to come into that full splits pose. You don't have to go all the way down if you cannot, so try not to force yourself too much. So what you want to do now is start to shift that leg forward. So your right leg starts to move forward. Now, as you're doing so, the tendency is that the hip will start to splay out. So check your left hip. Make sure it's still facing forwards as you come down. Tuck your back toe in and then slightly move back your knee. Okay? And you're going to do the same variation of movements here. So little tiny movements just to help yourself come down one at a time. So again, you can always tuck your back toe in and then slide it down. You can shift your right leg a little bit more forward, go down and see how far you can actually go. You can start to drop the back toe down onto the floor and then see. Maybe you can start to even drop all the way down. Now, if you have that block, it's always great to keep holding on to that block. You can also, if you have, you can also try and place a block right underneath that right hip, keeping that hip facing forward as much as you can. So don't worry, even if it is still opening out to the side, you want to still try and bring that left hip forward as much as you can. Keep breathing here. We're going to just hold. You can always walk your hands out a little bit further, keeping that back nice and flat. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Now if you have your block besides you, go ahead and grab that block once again. Take your time. We're going to start to lift that front leg and we're going to just slide it back, coming into that halfway lift here. Give yourself one final stretch. Send that hip back. Whew. And then exhale as come back into that tabletop pose. You're going to just move your hips side to side here. Place your hands down onto the floor. And let's send it back into that downward facing dog. So tuck your toes in and then lift that hip up, send it back. Walk your legs out here. And then this time, let's go ahead and bring that left leg high. Inhale, reach it up. And then exhale, swing it forward. Drop the back knee. Lower that hip down. And let's get ready for that halfway split. So grab your block. Rise up, drop that hips down. Just give yourself one final adjustment here before we come into your splits. And then when you're ready, let's send that leg forward, hips come back. And again, you're just dropping your chest down, giving that final stretch on that back of that left leg this time. And then when you're ready, take a deep breath in here. And as you exhale, you're starting to shift that left leg forward. Keep that hip squared. At first, you might need to use that block into a little bit higher level here, like I'm doing. And then again, just taking your time, going as slow as you need to. Just tiny, tiny little movements until you find your maximum. And you want to stay in that maximum. You might notice that this side feels a little bit tighter or more flexible compared to the other side. Wherever you are, just go ahead and breathe. I'm going to place a block right underneath my left thigh like I did on the other side. And I'm going to just focus on that right hip now pressing forward. So I'm going to walk my hands out in front of my leg. And I'm going to keep that back nice and flat as much as I can. And you'll notice that it's not really perfect for me either. I'm definitely working on my splits as well. So, you can definitely see my hip kind of opening out to the side. The idea is wherever you are, you're just doing your best to kind of square your hip as much as possible. And if it doesn't happen this time, with practice, you will eventually get there. So let's hold here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead, come back up, grab your blocks, and let's come out of this pose. Go ahead and bring that leg back, take your time, and then come into that half split once again. Give that hip a nice big stretch behind. And then as you exhale, go ahead and bring that leg behind. Remove the block to one side and just sit down onto your Vajrasana. Kneeling pose. Hands onto your thighs, just closing your eyes here. All right, you guys, from here, let's go ahead, walk your hands out to the top of your mat, cross your legs, and then let's lie down onto your back. Bring your knees close to your chest and hug your knees here. Just rock side to side and massage that lower back. For some of us, you might be feeling it a little bit more onto that lower back, so let's give a little bit more attention now onto that lower back. Go ahead and bring your knees all the way up towards the chest, arms nice and wide out in a T, and then drop your knees to the left as you look over towards the right side. Start to soften your whole hip area. Relax the entire body here. All right, let's come back up and switch over to the other side. All right, let's come back center here. Give yourself one final squeeze. And then exhale into your Savasana. Spread your legs down. And then palms facing up to the ceiling. And just closing your eyes here. Come back into your breath as we close this practice. Just a moment of Shavasana, just relaxing the entire body. Alright, you guys, now from here, start to wiggle your toes and your fingers. Keeping the eyes closed, let's give yourself one final big stretch here. Interlace your hands on top of your head. Inhale here, give yourself one final stretch. Exhale from the mouth. Release your hands down by your side. Bend your knees to your chest. And let's rock and roll all the way up into your seated posture once again. Sitting up tall. Relaxing your shoulders down. Let's bring your hands together, heart center once again. And just thanking yourself for committing to the practice once again. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for allowing me to guide you into this practice. I hope to see you again in the next video. Namaste. Thank you all.